Alright, cool, let's do it.
My children. I mean, I don't hate this person. I don't care what you write. Write it down. I want you to write it down. And this is something, I don't care how deep you are, it's something I need you to do religiously, like every single day. And I told you this before, for those of you watching. I need you to do it in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night.
Change this real quick. So we have what, 45 minutes, I think?
Roundabout.
Roundabout, okay, cool.
Bro, you sipping on the scissor?
No, man, can't do that. It ain't good for you. Dragon fruit refresher, man. With lemonade. With lemonade. Dragon fruit refresher with lemonade.
That sounds fire.
Yeah, absolutely. It's dope. All right. Okay, so good this morning. Yes, I'll be losing track of time. Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing? Y'all good? Yes, doing all right? Okay, I like it. So I'm gonna introduce myself and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. So my name is Backpack Jeff. Listen up. My name is Backpack Jeff. I'm going to be speaking today, but anytime I go anywhere and speak, before I get into any type of speech, presentation, anything like that, I usually love to start off with a poem. Any of y'all like poetry in here? Anybody? No, nobody likes poetry? No, any writers in here? Creatives in here? Write rap, sing, anything? Okay. We know that rap stands for rhythm and poetry. I think here's a problem though. I think when y'all hear poetry, y'all think roses are red, violets are blue. If you love me, I love you too. I think that's what y'all think of when you hear poetry. My poetry is a little bit different. It's more like spoken word. Y'all familiar with spoken word as well? It's a different form. So I'll give you an example. Hard times are memories that should be memorized only to memorialize the things that we've been through and the resiliency we've demonstrated to overcome them. One should never dwell on those memories. It is dangerous to live in the past when your future holds much promise. But there's so many memories in my head of how things used to be. A lot has changed. And I know they say you shouldn't stare at the past, but honestly, sometimes I peek. Just to remind myself of the valleys that I've been through as I'm headed to my peak. But I can't stare too long at the past. I got to stay ahead of the game, peak. I mean, the motivated in me says that I shouldn't dwell on these memories, but the curiosity in me says that I should remember that curiosity killed the cat. And that's immediately when I knew I was going to kill this poem. And this poem ain't no flex. Nah, I'm just sharing some things in my life that's working out. Like, I remember when fruits was a delicacy and how if we had them at the house, we knew mama got 3 checks that month. Now I check fruits off the grocery list at least 3 times a month. I even gave some to my daughter. They say the apple doesn't fall. The grind doesn't fall too far from the tree. I remember when gas was $1.83 a gallon and I could never drive on a full tank. Now gas is dang near $4 a gallon and I never drive on anything less than a full tank. What I'm telling y'all is that these days I'm filled up. God been pouring more blessings inside my cup. Overflow. I'm talking business. Overflow. Relationships. Overflow. Cash. Overflow. I'm only interested in having conversations with people who are trying to be progressive. Once they start talking anything else, guess what? Conversation overflow. No, I remember no seats at the table, so I built the house the table resides in. Now if they want to have a seat at the table, I tell them to dial in, and my assistant will handle the call and direct you to where you want to be. I'm even making the small changes in life, y'all, like changing from Sprint to AT&T. I remember being stressed out and overlooked. Nowadays, I'm still stressed out. But more because I'm overbooked. No, I remember going shopping just to buy one outfit at the mall. That's a shame. Because nowadays when I see something I like in multiple colors, I go, let me get them all. And look, I know that may sound a little intense, but I'm thinking differently now. I'll stitch a backpack in it and call it a business expense. I remember one pair of shoes for the whole dang school year. Now my shoe closet's doing laps around the shoe plug, got people asking if I'm him. I tell them, no, I can connect you though. You know I love doing this. This is my outlet. Y'all, I remember in college being happy just to make $300 a week. Nowadays, if I do less than $300 a day, y'all, that joint's got me weak. Especially when I know to speak, I charge more than $3,000 an hour. And this poem ain't no flex. I'm just sharing some things in my life that's working out. No more trading time for money. Nowadays, I spend more money to buy back my time. Oh, how times have changed. Like when mama asked me to borrow a lot of money, and I said, how much you need? She said $600. I said, mama, that's change. Because we moving in a space where we ain't got to stress over money no more. And we ain't got to knock. We got people that'll open the door. And I'm going to hold it for your grandkids, and I'm going to give them a tour. Because I remember them days when I would have to call in and pay my bills 35 days late, and they would ask me why, and I didn't know what to say. Nowadays, things are going so good, y'all, even my child support's on auto pay. But this poem ain't no flex. Nah, this poem ain't no flex. I'm just sharing some things in my life that's working out. Because I remember them days when I would sit in my house and cry because life was so bad. Now I cry because life is so good. Y'all, even my tears taste different. No more dropping tears because of struggle. Nowadays, I drop tears to remain humble because I know in an instant I can go right back, and that thought alone is what keeps me on track. So I always stay in my bag, so I never got to chase a bag. And that is exactly why they call me Backpack. Thank you. Appreciate it, appreciate it. I love it, I love it. So look, so here's what I want to tell y'all. Here's kind of what, like, I'm not really a teller. I'm really like a talker, a speaker, a storyteller. And so I just want to share with you all a little bit of some of the things that helped me as I was transitioning in my life from middle school into high school, into my undergraduate degree, and then ultimately into my master's degree, and then going back to school at some point this year to get my doctoral degree, y'all. It did not come easy. And in fact, life really reminded me a lot of math. Life really reminded me a lot of math. Anybody in here like math? Probably hate math, right? you like it? So look, this today is going to be strictly for you. This today is going to be for you. So y'all, here's the reason why I like math though. When I was growing up, I didn't like reading. Reading, I had to read it and understand it. It was too difficult for me. It was too difficult for me. And I realized as I got older, it wasn't the fact that reading was difficult. I just didn't enjoy what I was reading. I didn't know how to read. I didn't learn how to study until my senior year of my undergraduate degree. I was 22 years old when I learned how to study. I've got this thing called ADHD. And for some reason, I can't seem to study for extended periods of time. And then I met this guy who's very famous and makes a lot of money. And he told me, if you got ADHD, you should do what I do. Because he's got ADHD as well. He only studies in 2-hour increments. That's it. 2-hour increments, take a 15 to 30 minute break to do something else, and then go back to studying for another 2 hours. If you can't do it for 2 hours, do it for an hour, and then break for about 15 minutes, and then go back to doing it. And I started to do that, and all of a sudden, my grades started to change. But I love math because math was absolute. Math was definite. Math, you knew when you got it right or you got it wrong. If it was reading and comprehending, it's one of the things like you knew. With reading, sometimes you didn't know if it was right or wrong. You know, you can get part of it right in reading and writing, and you can get some of it wrong. And math is either right or it's wrong. That was it. That's what I love. I'm a black and white person. It either is or it isn't. I don't do too much in the gray area. And so I thought a lot about life, and I realized that life was just like solving for X. Life was literally just like solving for X. Because life is nothing but one series of problems that you have to solve after another. You know what my biggest problem was when I was growing up in high school? My mom, I grew up in Washington, D.C., Suitland, Temple Hill, Oxon Hill, Forestville, so Prince George's County, or PG County as we called it back during that time. That's where I grew up at. My mom, single mom of 4, my dad sold drugs. That was my first challenge. The earliest memory that I have as a child is my house being kicked in by the SWAT team looking for drugs in my house because of my dad. It's the earliest memory that I have. It's the first chapter in my book. I remember the police kicking in my door, SWAT mask, SWAT vests, ARs, all of it. That's the first memory that I ever have in my life was that. That was my first challenge that I ever had to figure out. And here's the thing. At that age, I really didn't see and I didn't value my ex as much as I thought I should value it. I didn't value my ex. I didn't think that my ex was going to turn out to be anything because I really didn't have any hope, and I didn't have any reason to be hopeful. I mean, I'm growing up in an apartment that's probably about this size, and I'm seeing other people, they're driving nice cars, they're living in these big giant houses, and I'm asking myself, how come I can't have the same exact things? Their ex is bigger than my ex. Why? I don't see it. But in life, there's literally no problem that you can't solve. There's no problem that you can't solve. So I had to think about solving for X. And here's one of the things that I did. When I started to solve for X, right, some people will try to tell you what your X is as opposed to you being able to write your own X. Y'all see my shirt? It say winners write history, losers become a part of the story. I guarantee that if you don't choose to write your story, somebody's going to write you into theirs, and they're not going to write the ending the way that you want the ending to be written. I knew for sure that nobody was going to write the ending to my life the way that I want it written. You know why? Because I like nice things, y'all. I like expensive things. Anybody here like expensive things? Like nice things, right? I gotta have it. It's something about me I gotta have it. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but I'm bougie, and I just gotta have it, right? Like, and I don't know what it was, but it's just something that I told myself that I had to have. And so I had to be successful. And so when you look at people, and I looked at them trying to solve for their X, it seemed like they had an easier time solving for X than I did. But the problem is I just didn't understand the formula. I didn't understand the formula. In math, there's usually formulas that they give you, right, so that you can solve certain problems. Yes. One of the formulas that I learned in life was the Pythagorean theorem. Y'all know that? Did y'all study that at all? The Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, got it. Okay, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A means action, activity. Activity squared plus belief squared equals completed squared. Life will be solved. Activity squared plus belief squared equals completed squared. Life will be solved. But here's the thing. If you don't have belief, you're not going to have the activity. And if you don't have the activity, life won't be completed. And your X won't be what you want your X to be. Y'all, almost 2 years ago now, me and my wife, we bought our house. We bought our dream house at the time. Big joint. Loved it, right? And all I wanted from my family was for them to be happy for me. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was them to say, nephew, I got 12 aunts and uncles. I just wanted one of them to come to me and say, nephew, you're doing a good job. Congratulations, I'm proud of you. I'm happy about the things that you're doing. Never got it. You know what I got? They spread rumors around the family and said I rented my house. What? I rented my house. You know what they did? No, they looked up my house on Zillow to see how much I paid for it instead of telling me congratulations. So they can see how much my rent was, so they can see how much my mortgage was. They looked it up. They never came to me and told me congratulations. And then when they came into town, they said, nephew, can I stay with you? What you think I said?
Yes.
Just like that. No, you can't stay with me. No. You can't stay with me now, right? Because I was looking for something that I didn't get, and that's one of the things that I want to encourage you all. You're looking for something that you might not get, and sometimes you have to be okay with that. I had to learn that me solving for my ex means that I have to do the work to actually solve this problem, because no one's going to do the work for me. No one's going to come into my life and say, hey Jeff, I'm going to give you this opportunity. I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to do this. Before anybody comes into your life and says, I want to help you, you got to be the first person to help you. Y'all know what CPR is, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, when you see somebody down and you trying to help them breathe and stuff like that. And I literally look at life that same way. But before anybody else can come and give your life CPR, you got to be the first one to breathe. They can't bring you back to life if you're not trying to breathe on your own. I wasn't trying to breathe on my own, y'all. I wasn't. You know how I know? Because I graduated high school with a 2.2 grade point average. Oh, terrible. Abysmal. The worst. All C's and a C plus, because a C in math was very easy. Right? It was easy. And then I got to college, and then I graduated college with a what? 2.2 grade point average. Abysmal. Terrible. And I thought I was doing enough. Sometimes in life you feel like you're doing enough. Sometimes in life you feel like you're giving it your all, but you realize that enough isn't enough. until I met this girl. I met this girl in college. I met this girl in college, y'all. Oh my goodness, she was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I was 17 years old. I walked on campus for the first time. I'm a football player. I'm a basketball player. I'm like, all right, let's get it. I'm about to be out here like, all right, come on, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Boom, boom. I got a little step back, Jay, ready for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm ready to go. I meet her and I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like the whole world stopped. You wouldn't believe it. And I looked at her, I said, hey, do you believe in love at first sight? I said, watch this. You're my first sight. I was like, now look, right, real quick. Women love corny stuff, guys. For real. Women love corny. You don't got to be super cool. Women love corny. If you can just have a little bit of humor and make her laugh, that's it. You've won half the battle, I promise you. Right? So I met her, and she has this bright idea. She says, you know what? Why don't we share our grades with each other after every semester so that we can hold each other accountable? I say, cool. I ain't got no shame in my game. 2.2, baby. Step back. Let it ride. I'm good. But then, after the first semester's over, I get my grades back, and I look at it, and what I got? 2.2. Basketball season starts on Saturday, baby. Game at 3:30. Make sure you wear the jersey and bring the sign. All right, let's go. Pump fake. All right. But I start thinking to myself, I'm like, dang, what if she don't want to talk to me because I ain't smart? She don't want to talk to she don't want to have a conversation with somebody she can't even have a conversation with. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what am I going to say? I immediately got nervous. I'm shaking. I'm like, oh my, I got to show her this. What am I going to do? So I'm thinking, I'm walking, I got to walk up to her dorm room. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm shaking, and I say, all right, I know what I'm going to tell her. I'm going to just tell her I'll do better, because women always believe that. Don't act like y'all don't. Don't act like y'all don't. You just spun the block a couple times on somebody. No, okay, look, I didn't say that. That was just a little, I didn't say that, right? So I went up there, I'm shaking, I got to her room, and any of y'all seen Fences before, the movie with Denzel and Viola Davis? Have any of y'all ever seen Viola Davis cry before? She's the ugliest crier I've ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness. When I opened the door, that's exactly what she looked like. She had snot running down, tears all. I'm sitting there like, yo, I'm good. I'm not crying. I got a 2.2. She must have failed out at the very least. She on a scholarship program. She lose that scholarship money. Mommy and daddy got to pay for that now. I'm good though. I got game on Saturday. She says, Jeff, what did you get? I'm like, shoot, here you go. She looks at it and goes, Jeff, what is this? I'm like, what you talking about? I'm eligible. Basketball season start on Saturday. I got a game at 3:30. Make sure you wear the jersey and bring the sign. Is that the one you're going to wear right there? Okay, get that. Okay. She said, Jeff, this is terrible. I'm like, you crying? What you get? I grabbed the joint. I'm like, what? Bro, I had to hold it up to the light. I didn't even believe what I was saying. I swear. I was like, what the? I know something must have changed on here somewhere. She had a 3.9. That's all A's and an A minus. I'm looking just as confused as y'all right now. Why are you crying? You got a 3. Anybody here ever cried because they had a 3.9? One person. Okay, there's always one outlier, right? I'm confused, y'all, as to why she's crying. I'm like, yo, why are you crying? She said, because I deserved a 4.0. I was like, how you know? How you know? She said, because I did the work. I was like, what that mean? She said, I'm going to my teacher. I'm going to show her the work that I put in, and I'm going to give myself a 4.0. I said, good luck, but don't forget about the game on Saturday because it starts at 3:30. Right? And so 3 days later, y'all, she came back with a 4.0 grade point average. I couldn't believe it. I was mind blown. I was like, yo, how did you do that? And I learned something at that moment, that there was a difference between me and her at that age, even though we were both 17. Her standards for her life was way higher than I had ever had in my whole entire life. I never raised my standard. I was okay with doing everything that was average. That's why I had a 2.2 my whole entire life. Everything was average. And then what you realize is that not only are you average in school, you average on the football field, you average on the basketball court, you average in your relationships, you average in your friendships, you average on your job, you average as a student, you average as a son, you average as a brother. Every part of you show up as you in every part of your life. So if you average here, you're going to be average there. I had to realize that my ex wasn't big enough. I had to raise my ex. People tried to tell me, when I went back to my mentor that I had in college, I told him, I said, yo, I want to be a speaker. You know why I want to be a speaker? Let's pause it right here real quick. If you were to go and speak for an hour, how much would you expect to get paid?
$100.
How much would you expect to get paid? Give me a number, anything. Just to speak for an hour. 150. How much?
130.
130. How much?
160.
160. How much? 175. How much?
A band.
Huh?
A band.
A band? Oh, I thought you said a billion. I was about to say, Jesus Christ. Y'all, my mentor looked at me dead in the face, and I was like, yo, how much you make an hour? He said 50,000. Listen, what you don't know will hurt you. People gonna look at you and say, what you don't know won't hurt you. That's a lie. Because I did not know that you can make $50,000 an hour speaking, talking, the thing that they told me to stop doing when I was in elementary and middle school. He's making $50,000 doing it. I'm not stopping talking. I'm going to keep talking. But that was like 10 years ago. Now he charges $200,000 an hour. Now, hey, listen, come on now. But look, I said, yo, I want to do the same thing you doing. How do I do the same thing you doing? I said, what's the formula to do it? The first thing that he said to me was, he said, I need you to speak for free for at least 3 years. Woo! Woo! I got a 3-year-old. How you want me to provide? I don't know how you're going to do it, Jeff, but I need you to speak for free for 3 years. That's the formula. So I went on a journey. I said, you know what? I'm going to speak for free for 3 years, and I did it, y'all. I did it because at some point, I said to myself, yo, there's got to be more to life than the life that I'm living right now. There's got to be more. I felt like my mentor, Les Brown, he said, I remember I was so broke one day I walked by a bank and I tripped the alarm. I was like, I was so frustrated with my money, y'all. I delete my banking apps because I ain't even want the temptation to go in there and look at what it might look like. Like this banking app playing with me right now. They know I ain't got no money in there. You keep on talking about hey, my balance is negative. I took until 21 to learn that the minus sign in front of the 500 means you're negative 500, not positive 500. You can't spend that. It's already spent. It's ridiculous. I was living paycheck. I was living behind paycheck to paycheck. They said I was living paycheck. People say they live in paycheck to paycheck. I was living paycheck to paycheck. It was bad. As soon as I got my money, I knew I had to take all of it out. $32 overdraft fee, insufficient funds. By the end of the year, I've paid $1,000 in insufficient funds fees to the bank. But he looked at me and said, Jeff, I need you to speak for 3 years for free. It's like, all right, I got you. I'm going to do it. I spoke for free for 3 years, y'all. How many of y'all are willing to do something for free for 3 years if it meant on the other end you could get $5,000, $50,000 an hour? Y'all, that's literally what school is. that's literally. Watch. I'm a poet, so I'm gonna bring you back. Oh, don't worry, I got you. I'm gonna make it make sense. That's literally what school is. Like, so I heard this story about this Chinese bamboo tree, right? A Chinese bamboo tree. Y'all ever seen a bamboo tree before? Them joints go real tall, right? Like 90 feet in the air. They grow extremely tall. And so when you plant a Chinese bamboo tree seed, you gotta water it, and nothing happens for 5 years. You never see the joint come out the ground. You never see it pop out the ground. You never see any evidence that it's still living. But every single day, you got to go over there. You got to water it. You got to make sure it's got good sunlight. You got to make sure it's got good soil. And then on the fifth year, something miraculous happens. In 6 weeks, the tree grows 90 feet tall, and only 6 weeks after the 5th year. You know why? Because what was happening was under the ground. The work that was being done was under the, that was me putting in my 3 years. I had to get good at this before I can actually charge for this. Nobody's going to pay me $50,000 if I can't go and speak. Nobody's going to pay me $50,000 if I can't go and I can't articulate something. I can't get a point across. I don't have a positive message. I don't know how to talk proper. No one's going to pay me $50,000. They're not going to pay me $5. Now, I told y'all in the poem, I charge more than $3,000 an hour to speak. I'm not getting out of my house for less than $3,000. I'm not doing it. But it didn't start that way for the first 3 years. I've been doing this for 8 years now. For the first 3 years, I did it for free. My very first speaking engagement, it wasn't $1,000. It was $50 for 10 minutes. I was like, ooh, it is up. Oh, they gave me a 50 piece for 10 minutes? Watch. I was like, listen, I was like, I'm good. I got it. I know exactly what it is that I want to do, y'all. So I started to solve my problem. I had a belief, I had action squared, and then it was completed squared. Here's one of my favorite things about math. There's something called, and correct me if I'm wrong, okay? You're gonna be my helper over here. There's something called dependent variables and independent variables. Y'all heard of that before? Dependent variables basically depend on the independent variables to determine their value. Y'all, I stopped depending on other people to determine what my value was. I had to stop depending on other people and telling them and them telling me what I could possibly be. Here's what I know I was promised. I was promised to live life in abundance. Abundance means an overwhelming quantity of. It means a lot. I was promised to live life in abundance. But sometimes, man, I feel like you're never gonna get there. I feel like you're never gonna get there. And as you're moving, what happens is you start to deal with a couple of different trials, a couple of different situations, and you have to realize that you got to become an independent variable, and you have to realize that your life is solely and independently based on you. And I realized that through this formula. I had this teacher in middle school. I went to Andrew Jackson Middle School in PG County, Miss Gay. I love Miss Gay. Yo. She was my favorite teacher in the world. She was the most down-to-earth teacher in the whole entire world. She taught math, and y'all remember the order of operations? Y'all remember the order of operations? Somebody who knows what the order of operations is?
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? When you're trying to solve for X, you gotta please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But here's what I did. I changed it because I needed it to fit life. So the P for me stood for purpose. Here's one of the things that I had to figure out in my life. I had to figure out what my purpose was. Any of y'all know why you're here? It's okay. Most people don't know why they're here. Most people don't know why they're here. I had no idea why I was here, but if you don't know why you're here, because we're all put here to do some sort of job, and not just what you do work-wise, we're all here to give something back to the world, give something back to the universe. Like that's what our purpose is. If you don't know what your purpose is, the best way to find out what your purpose is to find out what you don't want to do. Process of elimination. I had no idea what it was that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But through process of elimination, I landed on speaking. I started off at Bob Evans. Any of y'all ever been to Bob Evans before? Down on the farm? Yes, love some Bob Evans. I was back on the grill. I was cooking. I was chefing it up. I was, you know what I'm saying, doing the French fry, shaking and everything. I was doing good. But I realized that every day that I came home, I smelled like bacon grease, pancake batter, steaks, eggs, chicken, and everything that I had cooked, and it was disgusting. It was nasty as I don't know what. I was like, I know I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Then I got into a call center. I was like, man, I'm gonna just sit at this desk, answer some phone calls, and I'm just get paid, and I'm gonna be cool. I picked up the phone, I'm answering, and then I realized that I don't like being inside of a cubicle, and I don't like going to the same place every single day. This is boring to me. I don't like it anymore. I got into the insurance business. When I got into the insurance, I realized that I like sales. I like talking to people. I like being able to present. I like being able to perform. perform. I like being in front of people. I like being on stage. I took all of those things and I wrapped them up and I said, how can I serve my immediate gratification? How can I still do sales? And how can I still solve problems? I put all of those things together, and ultimately I decided that it was beneficial for me to become a speaker. I figured out what my purpose was. Y'all, there's a saying, and it says most people die at 25, but don't make it official until 75 because they chose not to live their purpose. Most people are internally gone, and they're just walking around in life. And here's what I realized for myself. I realized I didn't want to just be a shell of a body just walking around. I wanted to give something back to the world. Because I adopted a philosophy. And the philosophy is the more people you can give what they want, the more you can have what you want. So what did I start to do? I started to give back. Karma, good karma, bad karma, reciprocity. What do you get back for what you give? I started to just give more of myself, and then life started to gradually pay me back. I started to figure out what my purpose is, and then I learned something from one of my mentors, Les Brown. He said, "You know what the wealthiest place on earth is? The wealthiest place on earth." Anybody? Somebody give me a guess. Where's the wealthiest place on earth?
Dubai.
Okay. Dubai. Okay. Y'all see what's happening over in Dubai? Them floods. Woo, that thing crazy. I was watching the joint yesterday, and they had Rolls Royce on boats. And I was like, gee, that's crazy. Anybody else? Where's the wealthiest place on earth? Wealthiest place on earth. Nobody said New York Stock Exchange, Silicon Valley. No. The wealthiest place, yeah. Miami is a really wealthy place. I'm gonna tell you, the wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard. Because that's where dreams, hopes, desires, and ambitions all go to die because people were too afraid to accomplish them. There's so many things that people took with them that they didn't have to take with them, but because they chose not to try to figure that problem out, they just died with it. And I told myself I didn't want to die with what it was that I was meant to do. So I had to figure out what my purpose was. You know what my purpose is? My purpose is tied into my why. You know what my why is? My why. Why do I get up every single day? Why do I go to work? Why do I go and speak? Why do I go and do all of these things? You know why? My mom worked for the government for 35 years. And she just bought a house. And it's a townhouse. And I'm not satisfied with it. I'm happy for my mom, but I need my mom to have something better. My mom deserves better. How many of y'all, raise your hands if your parents deserve better, whoever's taking care of you deserve better. I love it. They deserve better. So you know what I told myself? I'll be the one that's going to take on the responsibility of making sure that my mom gets better. My dad is 62 years old. He's never worked a tax-deducted job in his whole entire life. He's got an amputated right leg, and he has no retirement. He's living with his mom in Atlanta, Georgia. My responsibility is to retire my dad. I'll take that on. Don't worry about it. I got that. My older brother, my older sister, my younger brother, they had no idea what they was doing in their life. I was sure where I was going in my life. I told all of them, y'all come live with me. I got you. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to help y'all get y'all life on track. My mom and dad still owe me child support for taking care of them for the 5 years that I did. Just, I want my money, Candy, Jeffrey, Big Jeff. I want my money. I did that, and I told myself because my why is creating generational wealth. Everybody talks about generational wealth. We've heard that before, right? How many of y'all have heard generational poverty, generational homelessness, generational trauma? That's the things that gets passed on more than the generational wealth does. So I'm saying to myself, somebody has to be willing to go first and step into that. And I said, you know what? I'll take everything that comes along with it, because when you do it, here comes scrutiny, here comes critics, here comes you're in the face of the public, here comes people not talking good about you, here comes your family saying that you rented your house and you didn't buy it. All of those things, I'll take all of it because it's my purpose. And then after you get into your purpose, right? That's our P. Yes, purpose. Okay. E. Okay. Please excuse P-E. The E is for exposure. Y'all, I want you to take inventory of what you've been exposed to. If you haven't been exposed to it, I'm going to encourage you to find ways to do it. When we was younger, for my older folks in here, we used to play this game called That's My Car. Y'all remember that game? That's my car. I'm going to explain it to you. Maybe you'll remember when I say it. We used to sit on the porch, and when a nice car drive by, we used to go, "That's my car." Oh, did you see that? geez, that joke was crazy. And then another one would drive by, I'd be like, no, that's my car. No, that's what they be like, how you gonna get that car and that car? The last one was yours. That was supposed to be mine. I said, I'm gonna have 2 cars. I'm gonna have 2 cars. Like literally when we was kids, we used to just dream so big. But somewhere in life, life started to happen to us, and then we stopped dreaming. We stopped thinking about life. We stopped desiring things. When I was younger, my dad worked construction. He did it all under the table. My dad worked construction. We in this big giant house, and we putting up a disco ball, a disco light, and a fog machine in this little boy's room. And I'm like 12 years old. I'm like, Dad, why are we doing this? Man? I'm just trying to go. Can we just go to the park or something? I'm like, why are we doing this? He said the little boy likes to dance. I was like, that's dumb. So what? Like what? I'm like, all right. But you said this is his bedroom, right? How come I don't see no bed in here? Where he sleep? Since you so smart. My dad said, oh, this ain't his bedroom, this is his playroom. Time out. Follow me, because I'm 12 and I'm trying to rap playground outside. Playground inside? I'm looking at my dad different now. Bro, why we don't got a playroom? What you doing? You seem like you slacking off. Big Jeff, what you doing? Why we don't have a playroom? Yo, I started to see different things in my life. When I got to college, I would drive around nice houses, and I would say to myself, man, I'm going to get me one of those one day. I promise I'm going to get me one of those. I started watching HGTV. This is how you know when you old, when you really start having conversations about the weather and you start watching HGTV and you start learning about recessed lighting and you start learning about backsplashes and open concepts and stuff like that. That's when you really old. You like, yeah, well, I want one of those. Y'all, I started looking, and I'm like, man, I want one of those, but I don't know how to get it. Where can I go to learn how to get one of those? Somebody got to teach me how to get one. So my dad told me, he said, go to school, get your education, and you can have one of these. I said, all right, cool, got it. I'm going to school. I'm getting exposed. I'm exposed to stuff, y'all. I'm in college. I'm watching T.I. and Tiny Family Hustle. They got this thing called a white room. And I'm like, whoa. White room. Everything in it is all white. White couches, white carpet, white pictures, white plants. They fake plants, but they still look pretty. White lights, everything. And all they do is they just sit in the white room. You can't even go in the white room unless you're wearing all white. And you just go in there and you drink water and you drink white wine. And I'm like, yo, this is immaculate. How do I get this? Side note, this little boy's playroom, I'm telling you, his playroom was like that big. And it was bigger than the living room that me and my family had grew up in my whole entire life. It was 5 of us. 4 kids, 1 mom. It was 5 of us. His playroom was bigger than my living room. I'm like, oh my goodness, how do I get this? How do I get it? I went and I got the formula. My mentor told me to speak for free. My dad told me to go to school, get my education. And then I learned winners write history, losers become a part of the story. I learned to write my own history instead of letting somebody else write it for me. After I was exposed to it, one of the things that I had to do after I did my E, I had to get my M together. I had to go and get some momentum. But let me show you what momentum looks like. Momentum looks like I was in college. I was doing well. I was working 3 jobs. I was a full-time student. I was a 2-sport athlete. I was putting myself through school. And then all of a sudden, after my sophomore year, I had to leave school. I had to take a semester off because I didn't have money to continue to pay for school. Even though I was working 3 jobs, I still couldn't pay for school. Momentum. In life, what's going to happen is you're going to go through it, but something is going to oftentimes derail you and stop you from getting where it is that you're trying to go. So I moved forward, right? And then I ended up getting myself a job. After I graduated college. I ended up getting myself a job. I got my job, and then I got my car repossessed while I was at work. So I'm getting momentum, but still, things are happening to me in my life. June 4th, 2014, I slipped into the deepest depression in my whole entire life. Sometimes life is going to require more of you than you're willing to give, and you got to decide whether or not you're going to give it. On June 4th, 2014, y'all, I was forced to stay away from my child. They took my child away from me. She was 3 years old at the time. They took my child away from me. Not only that, June 4th, 2014, I'm at my job. The whole company's going through an investigation. They send everybody home. They say, we'll call you back when it's time to come back to work. They never called me back to work. I'm like, life, how much more do you need me to give before I start winning again? Not only that, on June 4th, 2014, my landlord called me and said, Jeff, you got 30 days to get out. Here's your eviction notice. All in the same day, my daughter's gone, my job is gone, and my house is gone. Life had stripped me of everything. It was me and my dog Sarabi, a red-nosed pit bull. That was it. So I'm forced to sleep in my car. I sleep inside. I got into the wintertime, I sleep outside of hotels. I wake up every hour, I turn my car on, I blast the heat for 10 minutes, I go back to sleep. And then when I go, and then in the morning time, it's a hotel that's got continental breakfast. So I walk into the hotel, I take my bags, my suitcase out of the car, and I walk into the hotel as though I forgot my bag in the car, and I'm going back to my room, and I look at my watch, because I know the people at the front desk, they staring at me. And so I'm like, let me just go eat breakfast real quick. I go, I sit down, I eat breakfast, I basically eat the breakfast for free, and then I leave. I go to the YMCA, I go and work out, and I take a shower at the YMCA. That was my life for 6 months. For 6 months, y'all. That was my life. But when you get momentum, something's going to happen. I got myself back on my feet. 2018, I moved back to the DMV area. I'm doing really good at this time. I start working this job, and then a year into working that job, I get fired. There I am. I got momentum, but then life is challenging me again. Life is challenging me again. In 2015, y'all, I'm doing so well in insurance. I'm selling. I went an all-expenses paid trip to the Bahamas. I went an all-expenses paid trip to Jamaica. I get to take my girl with me, and then I was identified as a possible suspect. So instead of going to the Bahamas, I ended up going to jail. 26 hours. I was released after there was no evidence that I was involved in anything that had happened. So instead of waking up in the Bahamas, I woke up in a jail cell. Life is going to challenge you. And when you think you got momentum, life is going to remind you that you're still human. And we all still human. I cried myself to sleep every night for a month after those incidents. Every single night for a month. There was no family. There was no friends. I'm in Pennsylvania with nobody. Nobody but me. So we got to continue, and then I want to wrap up. Please excuse my discipline. The D is for discipline. One of the most important things that I had to have throughout this process, and that I want you all to think about developing, is your discipline. Little small changes in your life can make huge results in the end. I need a volunteer real quick. Can somebody who wants to volunteer for me real quick? I'm just going to have you walk. The only thing you have to do is walk. All right? Who wants to walk? Somebody want to walk. Somebody want to walk. Somebody want to walk. Who want to walk? Real quick, I'm gonna just do something for you. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. You got Cash App? Nah. Yeah. No, a Cash App. The app.
Yeah, I got Cash.
You got Cash App? I'm gonna send you some money, bro. I appreciate you. Come here. Come here. Come here. So look. Here, I just want you to face this way, right? And I just want you to walk in a straight line right here. That's all I want you to do, right? And I want to show you, like, just walk in a straight line. Yep. Just walk in a straight line. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Right? Stop right there. All right. Come back. Come back right here. Watch this. Watch how much of a difference a small change could make. Stand right here. Turn this way. Watch. I'm gonna turn you just a little bit that way. Now walk a straight line. Over time, what you'll see is that, I appreciate you, man. You can go sit down. I appreciate it. In the beginning, he ended up here. Over just a small change and just this little bit of distance, he ended up here. Imagine where he would have ended up if he would have kept going in both directions. I was reading this book called Atomic Habits, and a guy, James Clear, said, if you're flying from LA to New York and you change the nose of the airplane just 3.5 degrees in one direction, if you travel across the country, you won't end up in New York anymore, you'll end up in DC. Small increment changes, y'all, can literally have lasting effects. So that's discipline. The next thing that we need action. We need massive amounts of action. You gotta be willing to take action. I had to be willing to take action in the things that I wanted, and even though there was gonna be no fruits of my labor in the very beginning, I knew that on the back end, I was promised to live the life that I was destined to live. And then lastly, the last thing that we're gonna have to do for the S is we're gonna have to sacrifice. If you want an amazing life, how many of y'all here want an amazing life? How many of y'all know what you want your life to look like? I encourage you, if you don't know what you want your life to look like, draw it out. Before I did anything, I had to draw out what my life was supposed to look like. I knew the house that I wanted. I knew what I wanted my wife to look like. I knew what I wanted my kids to look like. I drew everything out, and then it was up to me to solve for X. All I got to do is figure out how to get there. But sacrifice. The more you want, the more you desire in life, the bigger the sacrifice is going to be. The more sacrifice you're going to have to make. You're going to have to give up some things. And that's going to cost you relationships. That's going to cost you friendships. That's going to cost you family. That's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you a whole lot. But at the end is literally everything that you desire. So don't live for now. Don't live for your today. Live for your future self. Everything that I do right now, even where I'm at in my life right now, is for my future self. I encourage y'all to do the same thing. My message is and always will be, winners write history, losers become a part of the story. Please don't let somebody write you into their story, because they're not going to write your life the way that you would want your life to be written. I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. If y'all have any questions, we can open it up for maybe like 5 minutes or so. If y'all have any questions, I like to do just like a quick Q&A. I like to tell people that my life is an open book. My life is an open book. I've pretty much written my life in a book, and it's scheduled to come out at some point. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask questions. I have a mentor program. You all can join my mentor program. We meet every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. It's done virtually. And basically what I do is I give back. I want to help y'all. So if you feel and you believe in your heart that there's more to your life than what's going on right now, and I believe that there's more in life, and you deserve more. You're supposed to have more. You all, if y'all don't want to ask right now, you can send me a message on any social media. I'm Backpack Jeff. It's not Backpack Jack, and it's not Backpack Joe. It's Backpack Jeff. So you all can find me on there, and I will answer y'all questions and send y'all more information about the mentor program. Yes.
What happened to the girl in college?
What happened to the girl in college? Funny enough, after I got married, she professed her love for me, I was married. I was happily married too. So it didn't end up working out. She moved to John Carroll University from Pennsylvania, which was like 2 hours away, and being a broke college kid, I didn't have any money to go out there and see her. So we just decided to, be friends. We're still friends to this day, but it didn't end up working out that way. Yeah. So most people ask me that question. Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions?
Ask them anything, guys. Now's your time.
Yes, don't be afraid. Yes.
I need to know what's up with the backpack.
What's up with the backpack? Why Backpack Jeff? So anytime I get up and I speak, I'm super nervous. I'm always nervous. No matter how many times I do this, I'm extremely nervous. And so what I do is, in my backpack, I put things that mean something to me. So pictures of my mom, my dad, my wife, my son, my daughter, my grandmother, books that I've read from inspiring people, and I keep those things on my back. So when it's me up on stage, it's not just me, it's me and everybody else who has my back. And so anytime, and then for the audience, anytime I speak, I'm more of like a tangible speaker. I'm more of like a step-by-step type of person, because I want people to figure out where they are in the process and then be able to work from there. So I want to deposit something into your metaphorical backpack that you can take with you and that you can learn from.
Metaphorical backpack.
Yes. Yes.
This is getting a little personal, but when you said your dad sold drugs,
Mm-hmm.
did you have like a little bit of wanting to go in your dad's direction and help him? Did he like?
I'll tell you a quick story. There's a guy who sold drugs. He had 2 twin sons. One of the twin sons was just like his dad. He was a drug dealer. He was a liar, thief, killer, stealer. He was the most negative person that you've ever thought to be around. They were getting interviewed because the other brother was extremely successful, and the interviewer asked him. He said, "Hey, why are you the way that you are?" And he said, "Well, did you see my dad? I had no choice." So he thought that the only choice that he had was to be just like his dad. Now they're interviewing the other son. He's super successful. He's honest. He's trustworthy. He's a leader. He's an advocate. He's a philanthropist. He's a CEO. He's a husband. He's a father. He's all of these great things. They asked him the same exact question. They said, "Why are you the way that you are?" He said, "Did you see my father? I had no choice." Same exact answer to the same exact question. His response to it, though, was, "I had to be anything but my father." I looked at my dad and I said, "I got no choice. That's not what I want. That's not what I desire for my life." I looked at my mom. My mom, if I live life by my mom's rules and what she wanted for me, go to school, get a job for the government, work for 30 years, retire, and be happy. That's a boring life. That's not what I see for my life at all. And sometimes family will try to scare you into things, right? I love my family, but oh my gosh, they're like some of the most negative people I've ever been around in my entire life. No matter what you tell them, they're going to tell you the worst possible thing that could happen. I tell my mom, hey mom, I'm about to go to Great Falls. I'm just about to go for a hike. She'd be like, you be careful, you know there's bears out there. Okay, thanks. First, two things. Number one, I'm not going to be the only one out there. Number two, I don't got to outrun the bear. I just got to outrun the slowest person. I'll be fine, I promise you. And so they would tell me anything negative. And so for my 28th birthday, I wanted two things. I wanted all-you-can-eat crabs, and I wanted to go skydiving. Imagine what would have happened if I would have told my family I wanted to go skydiving. Oh my gosh, you're going to die. What if the parachute doesn't open? What if something happens? I went skydiving, had the time of my life. People will try to scare you out of things because they don't believe that those things can happen, or because they've never tried anything beyond their wheelhouse. So for me, I saw my dad and I said, I got to do something different than what they're doing. I'm only listening to the people who got what it is that I want, or something close to what it is that I want. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes.
Who's your mentor? You never said.
Who's my mentor? So I have a couple of mentors. So mentors for me are people who I can talk to directly, but also people that I learn from through reading their books, listening to their interviews. So I listen to Eric Thomas. I was just listening to him in the car right before I got out. Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Jim Rome, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Inky Johnson, David Shands, Nehemiah Davis, Him 500. There's so many people that I listen to like on a regular basis. I'm constantly feeding myself positive stuff because I didn't want to develop and adopt the same mindset as my family where everything is just bad. It's like if you got like a cup of water and you just keep putting tea bags in the water, what's going to happen is the water is going to be extremely dirty. But the way to clear out the water is just you pour clean water into it and let it overflow until eventually it's going to take some pouring. You might have to get some more water, but eventually the water is going to clear up. And so what I did, I literally had to clear my mind and rid my mind of all of those different things. And now the stuff that the stuff that wasn't supposed to happen to me until I was 50, 60 years old, we weren't supposed to have the house that we had. Like statistics told us that we're not supposed to have the house that we have until we're like 60 years old. Statistics told us that only 4% of people who are in poverty, live in poverty, will make it out. And I said to myself, I'm not going to be the 96%. I'm not going to be the 96%. There's enough people out here doing nothing that I don't have to be one of them. There's thousands of ways to be successful. You can be whatever you want in this world. There's only two ways to fail. And it's crazy that most people pick one of the two ways. Don't do anything, don't do enough. There's only two ways to be unsuccessful. Don't do anything, don't do enough. My wife wasn't even 30. I was 32. My wife was 28. We bought a $750,000 house, 6,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 6 baths. At 32 years old, we got the biggest house in both of my families and her families. We wasn't supposed to be able to do this. But man, we sacrificed tremendously. When everybody's going out and partying, guess what we doing? We in the house, we working. We in the house, we working. I'm studying. We writing curriculums. We out driving Uber and Lyft so that we can get money for the down payment, for the closing costs, for everything that we needed. My wife, she ain't getting her hair done. She ain't getting her nails done. She looked like a totally different person than when we first met. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't wait till this is done so I can see my wife again. Please, Lord. Like she looked totally different. But most people not willing to make those sacrifices. Her friend keep hollering to her, I ain't got no money, But every day you on social media at some new restaurant, and the expensive ones too. Well, that's why you ain't got no money. It's in 5-star restaurants and in your stomach. That's where all the money is. That's where all the money is. Most people, they vacation and they show on social media they vacation because they're trying to escape something. I want a vacation from a life. I want a vacation when I have a life that I don't have to vacation from. Most of the time when we go on vacation, after about 3 days there, I'm like, man, I can't wait to get back to my house. Because anything I can do on vacation, I can do in my house. I can literally do anything that I can do on vacation at my house, except for like getting to the beach and stuff like that. But I mean, if I want to do that, then we go to the beach. But my mentors have taught me so much through life, and one of the most important lessons that they taught me was just the importance of knowledge and information. People will pay you for information. People pay me today to teach them things that they didn't learn when they was in middle school and high school. 100%. They pay me $87 a month, which doesn't sound like a lot. But if you have 100 people paying you $87 a month, it's That's over $100,000 a year right there. And they only get 2 hours a week. They only get 2 hours a week of my time. That's it. So, yes. Anybody else? Questions? I thank y'all for these questions. These are great questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Closed mouths don't get fed, y'all. Anything that's on your mind? Anything that's on your mind? Okay. Let me ask you all a question. What do you need help with? Anybody? Willing to say what you need help with?
Be real. Just don't.
Anybody? What you need help with? Anybody? Okay, and listen. So if you don't want to say it here, that's completely fine. Again, y'all can send me a message. It usually happens that way. But I sincerely thank y'all for y'all time. I trust that you all received something from this message that I delivered today. And remember, y'all. I can't say it enough. Winners write history, losers become a part of the story. Please don't allow someone to write your story for you. They're not going to write it the way that you want it to be written. They're not going to write it, all right? I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this math lesson.
Thank you.
Guys, before you move out, if you go to your classroom, snack is going to be coming around.
Where are we at? That changes
Oh yeah, definitely. We gotta get you up to pro wrestling to your football team.
Hey, man, listen, I would love to come.
Appreciate you.
I would 100%. Let me, I can give you my phone number. Or you want to give me yours?
Absolutely, 443.
Here, I'll let you put it in.
Everything you have to say. Everything you have to say.
Just shoot me a text so I know who it is.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it wasn't empty.
Our girls would love to have you. That's definitely a blessing. Absolutely.
Yes.
We can't afford every time for the Yankees.
Nah, listen.
Always listen to them.
I had to ask that question because I had heard E.T. in your voice. I'm like, preacher. I listen to him every morning.
That's my guy right there, man. He's one of those people who just gets me going.
You guys head to class, I can give you a snack. It's gonna
Send me a text message with your name.
Okay.
That would be great, and then I will make sure that we keep contact.
Most definitely.
High school, college, I went to Waynesburg University, south of Pittsburgh, and then I went for my undergraduate, then I went to California University of Pennsylvania for my master's degree. Yeah.
HBCU.
Listen, I would, if I could go back and do it again, I probably would have. I just didn't, nobody taught us how to go to school. They said, fill out your financial aid and then go to school. And that was it. And I'm like, it's not that at all. It is not just that at all. Going to school is a much deeper process than just filling out your FAFSA.
If you go to class,
My niece was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know if you built for it.
Because and also you're always stuck right in the middle. Your family's never rich enough to pay for your education, and they're never poor enough to get it completely paid for. No matter how powerless you believe your life to be, they're gonna be like, nah, you can at least pay $1,000 a month. How? we didn't even have $1,000 a month at the house when school was free. How do you think I'm supposed to get this?
When school was free, that's what-
Yeah. Where do you think this money's gonna come from, sir, ma'am? I don't.
somewhere.
I have no idea. Yeah, and so I learned a lot of hard lessons. Hard knocks. You gotta experience life and go through those things. And the more you experience, the more you learn. So
I be teaching them balance on like
Yeah.
you have not even seen half of it. Like,
I want to
College
keep in touch with you too, because
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a feeling that they're processing it,
yeah.
and
I need to
then
reach out later.
maybe we'll reach out later. But they're acting all tough.
They're quiet.
I'm glad.
The bell rang and no one flinched. For our group, that speaks volume.
really,
You have their attention.
I'm definitely glad you said something about the flexing and like it's not all like the people that go on vacation because they trying to escape or they just want to have the fancy stuff.
That's it.
At the end of the day, when you really gotta look at them bills after,
Well,
like,
back to that. Listen, I'm telling you, I was embarrassed. I went up to the bank. I was like, how come I can't pull money out? She said, if it's a minus in front of it, that means it's negative. I was like, what? How did I get negative $500? And then from there, I lived in the negative for about 2 years. For about 2 years, I literally only could pull out money.
Cousin's his mentor.
Yeah, I played.
He did meet with basketball.
Yeah, I played him in basketball.
Cousin.
What's up, man? How you doing? Good. You play basketball too? Yeah.
Who's that?
All right. I like it, but he beat me. I sent him some money too. Oh, what's your Cash App? Hold on.
Just imagine if you would have stood up, you could have gotten money today.
I got you.
You should. You should care. Huh? He doesn't want money. I do.
You got something to say.
Since when? Since when?
You know why?
Do you have $100,000 to pay for student loans?
And you never you came in here what you could hear. Ask the man the question. Right?
I gotta ask you a question.
No, I don't have no food. I don't have
Why you prefer to be?
It was very good. It was very good.
I didn't want to disrupt Vegas.
How you doing? Nice to meet you, Jeff.
You were in the middle of it when I got out of my meeting, and I'm like, you know what? They are all on you. I'm not opening that door, disrupting any of them.
They were. They really were.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was.
That was probably the most like in tune they were with anybody that has come in.
I love it.
Didn't want to say in front of them, but to have all of them on you like that, there was no way I was messing that mojo up. We don't get that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I 100% thank you all. I mean, if you know, anything that I can do to help, I have a couple of curriculums that I'm finishing writing now. I would love to pass them off to you all to help with them because, again, one of the things I teach at the juvenile detention centers in Maryland. So I'm at all 9 detention centers in Maryland. And so right away, what I do is I try to help them we got to create the life first because some of them, they're just not even allowed to dream. And I read a book called Neurolinguistic Programming, and he talked about the Disney theory and how Walt Disney created Disneyland. He said he just allowed himself to dream first, and then all of the negative thoughts and what if this doesn't work and how are you going to do that? Can you just dream for a second? Just allow yourself to think and dream about what your life could be like. And that's what I did. I had to figure out, man, I'm doing this and I'm traveling here and, me and my wife, we're doing this and my mom's got a home and my dad's got a home and we got a vacation home and we got all of these things. And who knows if it'll ever happen, but I would rather dream of something and fall short of it than dream of nothing and accomplish it.
Hey, should introduce you to my daughter and let you. She sure doesn't hear that.
Maybe everybody needed to hear it. I needed to hear it today.
Yeah, I like to help them create, and then once we create the life, and then I'll go through like some financial literacy stuff with them. To now, let's see how we finance the life. Once we create the life, we got to see how we finance the life. And now, once we finance the life, then we go from there. Okay, the kids, they're like, some of their lives are like $13,000 a month. Okay, great. How do we make $13,000 a month? First off, let's see if there's any jobs that are paying $13,000 a month. There's very few, far in between. You won't find many of them. You won't find many of them. But now, how do you create something where you can make $13,000 a month? And then after,
I'll tell you the illegal way to do it.
yeah. So and so that many of them have. And so you got an entrepreneurial spirit. Let's say if you took that same spirit, and there's another poem that I have. When two people got the same hustler's mentality, it's just about the client that you serve. So who do you decide to serve? Are you serving this person with all of the risk involved, or are you serving this person? And here's the thing: so I do something called reality check, where you know what the outcome is going to be of this. People try to act like they don't know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen.
It's not going to
Come on, tell me where this is going to end up.
It's not going to happen to me.
Tell me where this is going to end up.
Yep.
Name me somebody that's over 50 years old, living the life that you desire to live, that came from this. You can't name me one of them. So where is it going to end up? You know where it's going to end up. If you know it's going to end up there, why continue to go down that road? Here's another road that you can go down. Flip it over and take the road less traveled. Take the role that shot. You know that's going to end up. I've had that conversation with the women that I work with their young men. You know what's going to happen. A year ago, I had that conversation with her. 2 months ago, she called me and told me her son was shot and killed. He's 23 years old with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. You know where that's going to end up if you don't stop him. You try to convince me that the cars outside of the apartment are not stolen. Those are stolen. That's a $70,000 Audi Q7. Where does he get that? He doesn't have a job with temporary tags on it. Where does he get it?
Right.
Come on now, like you're not lying to me. At the end of the day, I'm gonna go home and sleep heavily next to my beautiful wife.
Don't lie to yourself.
Listen, yeah, you don't have to lie. You don't have to lie to me. Hey, and I'm not here to judge. So, do what you will.
We appreciate you for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all. I would love to, again, come back again. If you all want to do any sort of program and anything like that long term, I would love to come back and, work with them. Yeah.
A lot of them are very good at sports.
Okay.
And their grades are not like the greatest right now because they're here for credit recovery and they're trying to get their grades up.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're out playing basketball, it's like all of their like worries and stressors just go away.
Right.
And they just play and have a good time. I feel like if they did more of that, but we don't have a whole lot of that stuff around here.
Yeah.
Like we don't have them to just walk.
Right, to where they can go and
go play.
Yep. And now again, you're stuck in the middle where you can't walk and parents can't drive, don't have a car, something like that. Maybe they're at work
Parents are
accident.
working, they don't have transportation, like there's an issue, so then they go and they walk the street.
Yeah.
And then they get themselves in trouble.
Yeah.
You said you have a financial literacy piece that you do. Is that isolated or is that a part of?
It's a part of the whole thing. Visa and the NFL, they teamed up and they created this website called Financial Football.
Okay.
I have my kids in my mentor program. They play financial football. It's free. And they have it from 11 through 14 years old, 14 through 18, and then 18 plus for personal or business. Financial football. All you do is you play football, you answer questions, they give you study packets, study guides, reviews, all of it, and then you literally play football with NFL teams. So you're playing a game while learning about finances at the same exact time.
That's really
Financial
cool.
football. Yes, okay.
That program is something that I think is really, really good for cable. I like to see him being involved with it.
The one that volunteered,
Yeah.
he's stuck. And I've known him since 4th grade. He's stuck in like this cycle. And
Check, we just got a
can't
text
get him
that
out.
mom didn't make it there.
Just can't get him out of his own way, basically.
He was the first one that I saw that was engaged.
Yes.
And
And
his brother's living greatness, like,
his brother's living the great life.
Really?
He's not.
well, his
Right
brother's
now.
chasing his dreams.
But his brother is the dreamer.
Yeah. Yep, there it is.
Was compared, well, your brother got good grades and your brother did this.
Oh, that was me. That was me.
And Caleb's just like trying to figure out who he is.
Yeah.
But he's very lovable and just wants to feel like
Validated and that.
like someone's there for him.
Yeah, and that was me. So my older brother is 1 year older than me, and he's a much better athlete than I ever, was in basketball. And anytime I play basketball, you're not like your brother. Your brother would have did it like this. Your brother would have dunked it. Your brother would. I'm like, first off, I'm not my brother. Second off, I'm playing basketball because y'all asked me to. I play football. Football is my thing. Find me if he can do what I can do on a football field, then I'll say then I'll think otherwise. But I was constantly compared to my brother. Through no fault of my brother's, he was just doing what he knew how to do. Yeah.
And that's the same thing. His brother's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not like one of those in your face kind of.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to be better than you or anything like that. It was just
He's just trying to do the best that he can.
yeah.
Talking about my butler.
No, Caleb. He's always compared to his brother a lot. And the Butlers could be great too, but they have that influence. It's their dad that influences them.
Coach football, wrestling.
But Robert is an example of nobody ever believing in him.
and just like you, he felt like he had to do certain
Yeah.
things for his family.
You
Bible was my protector when I was in school. You know, we wouldn't include, you better not say nothing to, he better not find out, but he would go off. But nah, his grandfather was a woman.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of times we do, as young boys, we look at our dads and go, I gotta be just what my dad is. And
Around here,
What they did to them, their dad is the greatest.
the greatest
Get ready
thing.
to snack.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be in there.
Some of these dads, and I'm like, it's like, but you look at me, you look
In
at
a
me
second,
like I'm
yeah.
some soft or something.
You gotta go to Harvard.
I said part of brother did. Like I told one of them, the same things I'm saying to you at 17, I was saying to your father when we were in school.
Right.
He didn't listen to me then. Look what happened. And you know about the same, I was like, because these kids look like them, they talk like them.
Listen, a lot of people, man, life is very predictable. You can literally predict what your life is going to look like in X amount of years based off of the things that you do now. They say they want to be professional athletes. Well, how long does it take to master a skill?
And that's
10,000 hours, okay?
the thing they're missing.
10,000 hours. So I asked the kid, I said, how many hours a week do you practice now? 5 hours a week. So you're 12 years old. By the time you turn 18, you can go pro at 18 in Major League Soccer. So if you do 5 times 52, you'll get like 700 and something. If you multiply that times 6, you're only practicing for 1,500 hours over the next 6 years. But you've been playing soccer longer than 6 years, so let's do some more math. How long have you been playing soccer? Well, for 6 years. Well, I said, well, double that number. You've only been, from 6 years old all the way to 18 years old, you only have put in 3,500 hours. You're not a professional.
Then you look at Stephen and they're putting up 15,000 shots in like
A day, these people eat, sleep, breathe, and die this thing. This is their life.
and most of them will tell you too, they don't get great until they put it both together.
Yeah.
For the mental and the repetition.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all about going back to the basics. You gotta master the basics. If you don't want to master the basics.
That's what education has taught people. That's where education fails people.
But to see,